Welcome into the Patriots Hub Podcast from the NFL Combine. I'm Alex Barth, joined by Marc Ross from NFL Network here. Kind of get the big picture landscape of what's going on with the offseason picture, free agency, the draft. Hopefully you can give us more of a national perspective here as the Patriots get going on. What is a major offseason for them?
Yeah.
And I guess let's just start there. This is, just had a coach go one and done, third coach in 3 years, young quarterback, not much around him. What should the stakes be for the Patriots this offseason?
Growth, stability, and I think the first step of that was hiring Mike Vrabel, a proven coach, a proven winner, not a new coach, a first-time guy that you're worrying or wondering if he can do it or how much time he needs. So he is going to come in and establish a program. It seems like he's done that already, and a way of winning and those consistency with the way they operate. Okay, now we know we've got that taken care of. Now what can we do for Drake May? It's everything has to begin and end with making sure he's supported and having as much of an infrastructure around him so that he can succeed.
In your mind, does supporting Drake May mean focusing primarily on offense? Because they obviously need defensive help as well. And is there a give and take between, well, if you have a better defense, you're not chasing points, you're not chasing field position. Could a defensive addition, whether it be a guy like Javon Holland in free agency, Mason Graham in the draft, could that pick in a way be supporting Drake May?
Yeah, as long as the better your team is overall, then of course the better it takes the pressure off the quarterback. And it's never a zero-sum game with the NFL. Like, we can't do this, so we can't do that. We can't. People talk about that so much, but no, you can address a lot of things in a draft or an offseason. And I mean, you just have to. I bring this up about the Eagles, where now we'll do like the Eagles. Well, the Eagles' secret is they just hit on all their picks, and they hit on all their, for the most part, free agent signings. That's the secret. There's no team is doing anything different than any other team. It's just they hit at a much higher rate than everyone else, and of course they have a quarterback that they believe in and a head coach who got it done. So, for the Patriots, it's let's get as many good players in here as possible, which will make our entire team better, which will support Drake May.
That being said, when you look at this landscape for the Patriots, where should their priority be, specifically in free agency? It's a thin class. We're seeing it get thinner this week. It sounds like Ronnie Stanley's going back to Baltimore. T. Higgins back to Cincinnati. Is this an offseason where they should focus on positions in free agency, or should they just go out and attack talent where they can get it?
I think attack talent, and the way sort of Washington did it last year, where they just signed a bunch of ham and egg guys. That was good, because that gave, again, veteran dudes that knew what they were doing and played at a good level to make sure that Jaden Daniels was supported. And for the Patriots, same thing. As you mentioned, the free agent class here is, you shouldn't be overpaying for anybody in this free agent class. Just go get some ham and egg guys that have stability, and then in the draft, you hope to hit on it. Will things turn around in year one for the Patriots? I don't know, but at least you're building that infrastructure.
How about the trade market? Do you think anything could materialize there? DK Metcalf, there's been low rumblings. Cooper Kupp is the name more people know. I know you had a thing up about him for NFL Network. Is there a chance maybe one of these guys shakes free that we're not expecting?
Yeah, I'm sure the brain trust of the Patriots are kicking the tires on all of these situations. But for the most part, I think just don't be desperate. Don't give up draft capital for one of these sort of guys. You're really just sort of growing and building with Drake.
When it comes to the draft this year, and there's been a lot of talk about it's a weak draft, it's a weaker draft, there's not that many blue chip players at the top. A lot of people are like, well, then trade down, right? You trade down. If the player you're going to get a 4, same player you're going to get a 10, but somebody has to want to trade up. How tough is it going to be for any team to trade down this year?
Yeah, that's always, so fun as fans and media. Just do this.
Right.
Well, it actually has to happen. And if that was so easy, then everybody would do it. Yep, I'm going to get the same guy at 14. Well, there's a reason no one's coming up there to get it. But, this class, because of the lack of top-notch players at quarterback position, last year there was 6 guys, so that makes everybody else slide down on the board because everybody wants a quarterback. Now there's not that, so all these other players are up there very high. So, I think every team, again, no one has secrets. Everybody's talking about we're going to trade up, we're going to trade down, and you talk about that leading up to the draft. So, but you just got to hit on your picks once you get to them.
At the top, let's say a guy like Travis Hunter's there. Do you see him as a corner or receiver? Do you think that's going to be team dependent in the NFL?
I think teams will see him differently depending on And then the need as well with their team, what they need. Okay, well, we don't have any corners. Travis, you're over here, but I see him as a receiver. I like him as a receiver just because I think he can instantly change a game as a receiver. Corners can be outstanding, but don't change games like receivers can. So that's where I see him thriving and getting so much better.
Where are you at with Will Campbell? Or do we need to wait till Sunday to the arm length? You comfortable saying tackle, guard?
Yeah, of course, the arm length thing has been talked about a lot, but there's always exceptions, and there's guys with shorter arms that have proven that they can play tackle. I think he's fantastic. I think he'll be okay. I think he'll be a good player at tackle, and just because he is so quick and nimble, and he uses the length that he has very well, he's super smart, crafty, so I have him as the best tackle in the draft, and I think he'll play at a high level no matter what the arm length comes out as.
Let's say we think Carter, Hunter, right, going off the board at the top. Campbell's there at 4. Would that be a good pick for the Patriots, or is there maybe too much risk given his build?
I think that'll be fine. Yeah, he plays like a top 5 pick, so I think Patriots fans should be happy if they get a Will Campbell.
Any other tackles in this draft you like, maybe later down?
Yeah, well, I love Simmons, from Ohio State. Now, he's coming off the injury, but he, to me, is the most athletic of all of the tackles. And the way he was playing, like, you saw oh, my goodness, this guy could be a perennial Pro Bowl dude, if he keeps ascending. Now, we'll see. Again, that's why the combine's here. A guy like Will Campbell, see, with the arm like this. A guy like Simmons, how bad is this knee? But, if he is there around that range and you're saying, okay, well, maybe we need a month or two to get him right, you could really hit huge on him.
How do you gauge that? Like, how do front offices gauge that? Having a first-round pick who might not play as a rookie, especially if you're a team picking in the top 15, right? You didn't make the playoffs the year before. Now you're sort of not getting that first-round pick, but he is so talented. How tough is that for front offices?
That's when you really have to be in sync with your personnel staff, your GM, your head coaching staff, ownership, your medical staff, and all, just to say, all right, well, what's the risk reward of this guy, and how likely is he going to be back? How soon can he help us? Where are we as a program? Can we sustain this to say we're taking a top 5 tackle potential guy as opposed to a top 30, guard or whatever, a running back? So that's really those discussions, all those draft meetings. That's what all of that comes to fruition to make those decisions.
Another position of need for the Patriots receiver, and we heard kind of coming into the week, this class is, falling. Ted McMillan, maybe people aren't as high. Luther Burden, Matthew Golden. Where do you stand on the wide receivers as a whole, and specifically Ted McMillan, who seems to be polarizing because he does have so many traits you want in a wide receiver, but the athleticism, it's not bad, but it's not what you're usually looking for that high in the draft.
He's going to be a good player. I like him a lot. He reminds me of Drake London there with Atlanta. Very, very similar. And then I think it's a huge fall off after that. So a huge fall off.
So even that group like Golden, Burden, Egbuka.
Those guys aren't first-round picks in normal drafts. Yeah, I would see them as almost third-round picks in regular drafts. So if you're wide receiver hungry coming into this, this is not really the draft for you, and you're going to see the overspending and the overvaluing of these players because everybody's looking at the same group saying, well, we have to have one, and so they're going to overdraft them.
Could you see teams, needing pass catchers, and it's a good tight end class, maybe the tight ends coming up the board and saying, well, we need a pass catcher, there's no receivers there, we're going to take a receiver, but we'll take Tyler Warren, we'll take Colston Loveland, guys like that.
And now on the flip side, this is maybe the best tight end group that I've done in a long time. I mean, all these, every time I watch a guy, like, he's a starter, he's a first-round pick, just over and over with these guys. Usually you watch a group, like somebody in here is not good. So, they're all really exciting and talented, and they're all different. Like, they all have different skill sets. So, yeah, you have to have the offensive coordinator to say, all right, our receiver group may be not the best, but we got a stud tight end, and let's use him in that way. And, of course, you're seeing more and more of that in the NFL.
So for, the guys at the top, I think a lot of people know Tyler Warren, again, Loveland. But the thing about the tight end position, there's only a handful of guys that go to the Senior Bowl. There's not a lot of colleges are running a ton of 12 personnel, so it's more limited exposure. And you go down in this class, and you're just always finding new guys. Who's a tight end deep in the class that you like that people aren't talking about enough right now?
Well, Bowling Green, man, he's that guy.
Harold Fannin.
Harold Fannin. He just, it's amazing the guy had 117 catches this year.
Yep.
And every game you watch, you're like, okay, somebody's going to scheme to stop this guy. And they just don't do it. And he just runs routes and he gets open. And it's the craziest thing. Well, he had 12 catches one week. All right, don't shut him down. Well, he's got 15 the next week. It's amazing the feel that he has, the route running that he has. And he may have the best hands in this whole group. Just you put it near him, he's making catches. So if a team gets fanning, he may not get into the first, he may, but if he's in the second there, some team, what you're talking about, that if we don't have a receiver, he is that guy there.
Before we wrap it up here, big picture, what is a realistic, successful offseason for the Patriots? Like, how much of this, they have the quarterback, they have a corner in Christian Gonzalez. We'll see with Christian Barmore with his health situation. Those seem like cornerstone players. How far can they get in one offseason towards building this team back into a contender?
Yeah, well, you got to look at your division. The Bills aren't going anywhere.
Right.
And then you got the Jets and the Dolphins. Like, okay, we can compete with those. So I think the goal is, say, let's get close to the Bills some way. We got to be second coming out of this, and that's through, we got to hit on some, again, ham and egg free agent dudes, and we got to hit on a couple stars in the draft.
Marc Ross, NFL Network, thanks for joining us.
Sure thing.